Welcome to Sharing Insights, Lessons from the Road. My name is Shannon Lucero, and I am a Regional Education Manager here at TMRS. I am working on my 24th year here at TMRS. It's a lot of time,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm eligible to retire, if those of you didn't know. Anyway, I love what I do, and one of the things I love about my job is all of the knowledge I have gained out there on the road. And we are here today to talk about some of that knowledge that we've gained and share some of our insights. So we all have different territories, right? My territory is the eastern side of the DFW Metroplex. So from about Frisco east all the way up to Texarkana down to Beaumont. So I cover a large area.
Mhm.
Ida, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself
Sure.
and your territory?
All right. My name is Ida Gomez. I've been with TMRS for 18 years and in the education for 4 years. I cover the I-45 corridor from Tiki Island up to Huntsville, through Central Texas, all the way up to Abilene.
Big area.
Yes.
Big area.
My name is Lorraine Moreno, and I've been with TMRS almost 26 years. So yes, I'm also eligible to retire, Shannon. My territory is South Texas up to Victoria, and then West Texas all the way to the city of Anthony. And it's not my director, Anthony, it's the city of Anthony.
And my name is Maren Emma. I am the newbie on the TMRS Education Team. I'm celebrating my 4-year anniversary this month, but I have 20 total years in the public pension sector here in Texas. And I cover the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex, up through Wichita Falls, up through Lubbock, and then all the way up to Amarillo in the Panhandle.
Now, Maren, you called yourself the newbie on the team, and she may be the newest, but she came to us with 16 years of experience with the employees' retirement system. So she has a wealth of knowledge, and so she may be the newest member on the team, but she's knocking it out of the park with her knowledge of TMRS.
Yeah.
So, y'all, today we're going to talk about things that we've learned, and I have prepared questions. I have questions. We're all going to talk about them. There may be a surprise question. So just be prepared that you may not know everything that's coming at you.
Okay.
But I guarantee everything that I'm going to ask you are those things that we encounter on the road all the time. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is, what is the one thing a city should know about TMRS, or the most important thing that a city should know about TMRS?
TMRS is a great pension. So when the members come in to work for one of the city just needs to tell them we are a great pension and we are a lifetime benefit.
Yeah, lifetime. We get that question a lot. What does lifetime mean?
Lifetime, it means for the rest of your life. And on that note, that depending when you get ready to retire, the option that you select, you can also leave a lifetime benefit for one of your beneficiaries or your primary beneficiary.
Yeah, and also making sure that your employees understand what a pension or an annuity is, especially with your younger employees. They might not have any frame of reference or experience with a traditional defined benefit plan. In years past, pensions were kind of commonplace,
Right.
but not so much today. So making sure they truly do understand it is a payment that you will get every month, guaranteed, no matter what, for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live.
Right. I know the first time I ever heard of a pension was my grandfather, his coal miners pension, right? We know about coal miners pensions, and our parents talked about
Unions.
the
The
union's
unions.
pension.
Mhm.
So having a pension is pretty unique, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So we talk about the pension, and it's such a unique feature of cities' benefit structure. If you have employees trying to come in and you're trying to retain employees, attract
Recruit.
employees,
Mhm.
we have a thing that at TMRS that we can provide to cities. And
For
It's the
recruitment.
go ahead.
recruiting flyer.
We all know it. Yes, a recruiting
Yes.
flyer, right? Tell us what it is, Maren.
Yeah,
The recruiting.
it's a flyer and it'll kind of walk a prospective employee through some different scenarios if they happen to become an employee with your city. It'll say, hey, if you start working for this city at this age with this salary, working for this long, this is what you can expect your TMRS benefit to be in retirement. Or if you started at a different age or a different salary, what that future retirement benefit will look like for them.
So yeah, it's a great tool if you're looking to attract an employee. So if you are out there and you go, oh, I want that recruiting flyer, how do I get one? All you need to do is email education@tmrs.com, And one of us will be
Yep.
sure to send that to you as soon as we can.
Mhm.
So we said what cities need to know. What does an employee need to know about TMRS?
Well, the first thing they need to know is they need to create a My TMRS account so they can make sure that all their information's up to date. The first thing they want to do is add their beneficiary information, and not only primaries, but alternates, because anytime it protects your family. So anytime there's a life-changing event, you want to make sure that you update your beneficiary information. And having the My TMRS tool available to you, you're able to do that at any time.
I couldn't agree more. We're going to talk a lot about beneficiaries
Yes.
as we go with some of these questions. I always tell employees, TMRS is one of those set it and forget it kind of plans. Do you guys remember the commercial?
Yes.
Yep.
Years ago, some infomercial, there was an oven. It was like, set it and forget it. That's kind of like TMRS is. Once they're enrolled, everything's automatic. TMRS is doing all the heavy lifting in the background to provide the employee with this lifetime benefit. So it's set it and forget it, but first you got to put the ingredients in, right? You got to
Correct.
register in
Right.
My TMRS, you got to update the beneficiaries, right?
And then also, they need to understand it, the nuts and bolts of your city's plan design, right? They need to know how much they're contributing out of their paycheck. They need to understand how much your city is going to match those contributions they're making, the interest that they're earning. They need to know when they're going to become vested for that lifetime benefit and when they're going to become eligible to start collecting that benefit.
Right.
And that's a very good point too, Marin, because they also need to understand just because they become vested, that doesn't mean the city starts putting their matching into their account right away. They might be able to see it, but they're not entitled to it unless they meet retirement eligibility.
In the city, they're setting aside those matching dollars from day
One,
one.
correct.
And that's a real big misconception that we hear in the field. But I think with
Yes.
the My TMRS, like Lorraine said, is they're going to see it. And
Yeah.
don't jump ahead. I have some other questions
Right.
about My TMRS. Don't jump ahead. But we get a new city member. Maybe someone's in our audience is brand new to the city or brand new into the administering of the TMRS benefit. What advice would you give that new person that called and said, "Hey, Ida, I'm brand new to the city." What advice would you give? Not an employee, an
City
actual
contact.
HR.
For the new contact person at HR with the city, one of the advices, go to our website, look at all our resources. Even if we just have different tabs, just because you're a city employee that's in HR, the city tabs is not the only one you can look at. Look at the 4-member tab, look at the retirement. We have fact sheets, tons of resources on our website that you can look up and find out what information we provide to you as a city employee, HR person, and for your employees as well.
But that's a good point too, Ida, because they are HR or benefits, but they're also members of TMRS. So it is good for them to look at the members tab and look at the other resources that are available to them.
Mary, what's on our website that you kind of personally handle some of the backgrounds that would also help a brand new city contact?
Oh, yeah. So we host webinars on a monthly basis, both for our TMRS members and also for our city plan administrators. We have our calendar of availability, links to register for upcoming events. So I would encourage anyone who's new, regardless of their role, sit in on a webinar. Sit in on 2 or 3. The 4 of us kind of rotate who's facilitating those. So you might hear something a little bit different with how Ida explained something compared to Lorraine, or you may pick something up hearing it a second time. So those are great resources.
I think the webinars, I've heard a lot of people in the field assume that they're just recorded and we broadcast that over
That
and
same
over, and it's
one,
not.
no.
They're live webinars that we broadcast live that day. And I know for a fact that each one of us stay on that webinar and allow members or city individuals to send a question
Yep.
through that Q&A platform, and we stay on until every question is answered. So if you're a new city contact,
Yep.
join a
And-
webinar.
And that's a great point, because sometimes I think that people get even more out of the Q&A at the end than the actual I mean, the webinars are great, don't get me wrong, but those questions coming in from other people, hearing them, it spurs something in
Right.
your mind too sometimes.
Correct.
Absolutely, yeah. So one question that I heard just recently, and I'm going to go to Ida with this one because Ida came to us from our city portal team,
Mhm.
and so she kind of dealt with this question a lot: is what is compensation? Do we have a general rule of thumb for? Because we talk about
Yes.
that 5, 6, 7, or 8% that comes from a member's account or compensation.
Mhm.
Define compensation. What is it? Or rule of thumb?
Easy rule of thumb, if it's taxable, it's compensation. And we also have on our webpage under the Four Cities tab a reference on reporting compensation, and it gives you all the explanation of what kind of pays can be taken out for TMRS and what doesn't have to be compensated as far as reimbursement.
Oh, okay. So if an employee drives to a conference and is getting mileage reimbursement,
Mhm.
that is not compensation.
Correct.
Because it's
Yes.
not taxable.
What?
It's not
It's not
taxable.
Yep.
It's not
taxable.
taxable.
Yeah.
So what if they're getting a uniform allowance?
It's taxable.
That's
It's
taxable.
taxable. So that is part of compensation.
Yeah,
So
some of the simple ones, car allowance, phone allowance, uniform allowance, anything like that, that is considered
so
compensation.
I like that. If it's taxable, it's subject to
Correct.
TMRS.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens if a city makes a mistake?
Hey, it happens,
We're
right? We're
humans.
human. Everyone's going to make a mistake. The most important thing, if you identify an error of any kind, whether it's, as simple as I enrolled this person and I spelled their name wrong, or I didn't enroll someone when I should have, or we sent you the wrong contribution because we weren't factoring in their phone allowance. Let us know as soon as possible, right? You can reach out to our city portal team. They can walk you through that correction of error process.
So I'm going to ask a question of Marin because she comes to us from another proportionate
Yes.
retirement system, and it kind of goes hand in hand with our restricted prior service credit. So what should a city know if they're hiring an employee or they have an employee and they found out that they had this prior time either with the TMRS city or another public system?
Yeah, so we'll start with the proportionate retirement program, right? TMRS is a member of the proportionate retirement program. So all 944 participating TMRS cities are part of that. You do not have to adopt an ordinance to participate. And we work cooperatively with the employees' retirement system, the teachers' retirement system, Texas County and District retirement system, City of Austin retirement system, and the judicial retirement system. So if you have an employee that is a member of one of those other participating systems, we will recognize any service credit they have with that other system, and they can use it to meet the vesting and the retirement eligibility requirements here at TMRS. And since we do work cooperatively with those other systems, really the only thing your employee needs to do is to notify us of their membership with that other system. And it is simple as them picking up the phone and giving our member service center a call. We're going to do the rest of the legwork. We will reach out to that other system. We will obtain the verification of their membership, confirmation of the years and months of service credit that they have. Now, where it can get a little tricky, when I say they're a member of that other retirement system, for most of those other systems, it means that the money is still with that other system. What if someone is refunded their ERS account, their TRS account? Ida, do they qualify for proportionate time or do they have to do something
They
else?
have to do something else.
What do they have to do?
Restricted prior service credit.
What does that mean?
So they have to submit an application to get the credit that they had with those other systems. So basically, the form is on our website. Complete the form, have ERS, teachers, retirement, whichever system they're with, sign off on the form, and then hand it over to their human resources department.
And then, I'm sorry, Shannon, I'm
Yeah.
taking over all
I'm
your
not-
moderating
you're
duties.
I'm going to
I just-
touch. I am going to touch on something. The TCDRS, which is the county. The county's a little bit different. Whether you pulled your money or not, they do not allow us to use the restricted application. So if you've got your money there, perfect. It falls under proportionate retirement. But if you refunded your account with the county, you're not allowed to apply for the time credit using the restricted
It's
application.
still proportionate.
It's still considered proportionate.
Right. And I also want to touch in on the restricted. What I did talked about the restricted, it's not just proportionate systems, it's any prior public service, full time service anywhere in the United States.
Yeah.
And another kicker, it is an optional provision that your city had to adopt. So if your city doesn't have it, and I think about 70 to 80% of
The
our
majority.
cities
The
are
majority of
under
our cities
restricted.
do have it.
The majority of them do have it, but it is still one of those things you have to always double check with, because I think those probably one of the most confusing questions that we deal with in the
Yes.
field.
What does it fall
Confusing.
under?
What does
How
it
do I
fall
apply
under?
for it?
Call, ask us.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I always say just complete the form. We'll do the work on researching if it qualifies, and if it does, then we'll
We'll
add those
notify
Add
you.
the time. Add the
the
time
time.
to it.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk. We're going to switch topics, guys, from the proportionate and restricted, and talk about something that all four of us are so passionate about. It's our hill to die on, no pun intended, but it is what it is. It's beneficiary designations. We all harp it in the field. Why is it so important?
It is important to update your beneficiary. First of all, because we need to have someone that you're going to designate the money to if anything happens to you. And it's also important that your loved ones don't struggle if you were to pass away, having to provide additional paperwork information. It would be an easy process for them if you had your beneficiaries up to date.
And I'll tag on to that. One of the reasons I tell everyone it's your money. It's the money that goes into my personal retirement account, the money that goes into your account, your member's account, is money that came out of their paychecks. It's theirs, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if we can't pay that TMRS benefit to you, to the employee who's been paying into the account all these years, we want to be sure that the benefit is paid out to the person or people that you want it to go to.
Right.
Which again, okay, so we told them, Lorraine, like we talked about earlier, we told them, hey, you got hired, update your My TMRS account, update your beneficiaries. Now they become vested. And now we're sending them letters and emails saying, hey, do it again, right? Basically, we're saying, do it again, reaffirm it, redesignate your beneficiary. We're not telling our members that they have to change who they have designated. We are just telling them that they need to make sure that is who they are, because when a member becomes vested, not only have they earned a right to a future retirement benefit, they've actually earned a right for their beneficiary to retire that account. So we need them to confirm that this is the person that they want to receive that benefit in the event of death prior. I want to make that really clear, right? We always have to go, we're in two different sides here.
Pre and
Employee
post retirement
versus a retiree, beneficiary versus a retirement option. So when that vested status hits, beneficiaries are, again, our hill to die on. But how can a member update their beneficiary? What's the best and easiest, all the different ways a member can update their beneficiary?
Log into your My TMRS account and make the updates.
Okay, what else? There's another way.
They can do the beneficiary form. You can fill it out and have the city, just ask the city to upload it to TMRS through the city portal.
Okay, and Maren, on the city side, how can a city help employees?
Oh, yeah. In the city portal, in the reports feature, there is a report literally at the click of a button. It is going to identify for you any of your employees who do not have a valid beneficiary on file. And that could be someone who never designated a beneficiary when they were first hired. It could be someone who hasn't yet updated their beneficiary since they became vested. It could be, a return to work retiree who didn't realize they had to set up a beneficiary for their new TMRS account. And it's a really great tool so that you can do that targeted communication and outreach to that population. But this is not a set it and forget it once and it's done type report, right? Because think about it, that report is continually changing. You can run it today and then again next month and have different people on the report as your city is hiring new employees, as people are becoming vested. So I always encourage my cities, set a reminder, whether you're doing it monthly, whether you're doing it quarterly, whether you're choosing to do it annually, just making sure you're regularly running it and then acting on that information you're getting in that report.
Yes.
I love that report. Although cities go, oh my gosh, we have this many people, help, help, we want to help them.
Yeah.
Um, we have said my TMRS a few times. Now, last May, we launched a new version of my TMRS, and we're out on the road. We're hearing all kinds of stories about the new My TMRS redesign, which I believe you said earlier. They can see the
They can
city's
see
money,
the
that
city.
visibility of that
Yeah.
money.
Mhm.
What's your favorite feature of the new My TMRS?
The city's contribution feature. I
Okay.
like that it shows what the match is or any updated service credits. And that's something that our members kept requesting, wanting to see. And it kind of gives them more of an idea of how that money is being um, submitted to the to their account, basically. And then also the total reserves.
Yeah. Oh, total reserve. So
Mhm.
that's a term that we use internally. That what does it mean? The total reserves is what?
All their
All of the
money.
buckets of
All the
money.
money,
All
all
the
the money.
buckets.
I know Maren uses buckets of money in
Yes.
her talk, and it's like everything all comes together.
Everything.
So it's a lot more visible, and I think it connects the dots for a lot of our members to actually see. Oh, this is the money I've put in. This is the interest I've earned. This is the contributions from the city. Oh, this is how TMRS can pay me a lifetime benefit.
Well, and it's one thing for them to know, oh, my city matches 2 to 1, or my city matches 1.5 to 1. But it's another thing entirely to see it represented in dollars and cents
Online.
in their My TMRS account.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah.
another feature that you like about it?
Yeah, that you can also customize your estimate. I'm retiring in January, but I'm leaving employment today. What is my estimate going to look like? Or, hey, I'm going to get a salary increase, but I'm not going to retire till 3 years later. What is my estimate going to look like? That is something that members can go in and do now. They can, instead of having to call TMRS, you can do it on your own and put in the dates, put in your salary changes, and also, make sure that you can see not only your monthly benefit, but it shows your partial lump sum, because we have a lot of members that do want to take that partial lump sum.
And I think that's why the majority of our members do access my TMRS is to run those estimates, right? And I think I'm going to tell a story here after I say my favorite thing, again, Lorraine, I agree with that, is I think having that ability to stop your contributions and retire at a later date can truly show an employee, a member that, hey, if I'm vested, and they say, hey, I'm vested, I have 7 years, maybe, and they're at a 5-year city, what are my options? They come up to us all the time, what are my options? Well, you're vested. Hey, go to my TMRS, put in, oh, you're leaving in December. Put in December as your last contribution date, and it's going to show you what you're going to be able to receive at 60 if you haven't reached that age already, right? So it really shows, hey, oh no, they're right when they say vested and age 60 also earns that. My story, though, I'm going to tell you guys something that happened to me recently, just extremely recent, and it was really funny. I was driving down the road, again, going to a city, and I had 2 calls back to back come in, and I'm driving, so I'm taking these calls. 2 individuals from 2 different cities calling me, asking me about their estimates, because they ran estimates in my TMRS, and they ran one 6 months ago, and they ran one today, and the numbers are different, and the numbers were lower. And I speak to the gentleman and I go, it's always about your contributions. It's always about the contributions. And he's like, nope, 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 that's not it. And I said, you know what? Send me your information. And as soon as I get to my hotel room, I'm going to go digging through his account. I said, I'll get you your answer. 5 minutes later, I got the exact repeat phone call. I thought, what is going on? This is deja vu. And I tell the gentleman, same thing. I get to my hotel room a couple hours later and I'm digging. And what had happened is both of these individuals ran estimates at a certain time frame. One of them used the customization feature and put in his annual salary as $10,000 instead of the fact that he was receiving a $10,000 increase. So he read that kind of wrong. And so it did obviously lower.
Yeah.
But we know that when a member is running their estimates, we have a known amount and we have that variable, right? We know exactly how much is in a member's account on the day they run that estimate, but we have to guess those future deposits, right? So what do we do to guess those future deposits? We look at the last 12 deposits, right? The preceding 12 deposits. And one of the gentlemen, he was like, no, 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 I've gotten a raise. I've gotten a raise. It shouldn't be like that. And I actually went in, looked at the date he ran the estimate, looked at his preceding 12 deposits, averaged them out, and said, well, it says you're making this much. And he goes, oh, but that's overtime and all this. And I go,
Yeah.
compensation. Just
It's
like what you're
taxable.
it's the compensation.
Compensation.
And he goes, I thought y'all just looked at my base salary.
Oh.
We don't know your base salary. We're looking at their actual deposits that we
Yeah.
receive. So both of these individuals had the exact same situation. They were both in overtime positions that got overtime
Mhm.
and they projected it out. And when I explained to them, it's projecting you're going to keep making these higher deposits. And so when if you at the city, you get those questions, it's always about the deposits. TMRS didn't change anything in our estimate program. We haven't missed, nothing's gone awry. It's always the deposits. And I know all of us have had to put pen to paper
Oh.
to show an employee,
Yeah.
a member, how that affects. So it's always about the known and then the variable. On the variable, the further out you push that estimate, the more wiggle room there is on those numbers, right?
Yes,
And
on
the
that estimate.
customization tool on my TMRS now allows
Yeah.
Yeah.
that member to go in. So that's my favorite feature of my TMRS.
I know.
Yeah.
And the one you guys stole both of mine because those are fantastic enhancements. But the other one that I'll talk about is the new online retirement application, right? That went live in July. So once folks are eligible to retire, when they log in, they're going to see that Apply Now button on their dashboard and they can walk through the full TMRS retirement application electronically. The feedback I've been getting from my members and my cities has been fantastic. I don't know about you guys,
I've
but
gotten positive.
it's
Positive
fast,
review.
it's easy, it's intuitive, it's secure. So just across the board, it's a fantastic enhancement.
They can't miss a question. Where on the paper form, they might have missed a question.
Yeah.
And then we had to go back and forth, right? We had to go
Right.
back and forth. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go on to another question. And it's for our city people who say, oh, I have an employee who's leaving. What are their options? Or what do they say to an employee who's leaving and they question them about TMRS?
Really, don't say anything, but don't make them refund.
Don't
Don't have them complete a refund form. Don't hand them a refund form.
Don't tell them they have
Don't
to,
tell 'em they
that
have
they're
to,
required
yes.
to.
Right.
I think it's knowing their options. The
Yeah.
employee needs to know their options, whether they're vested, they're not vested. And this is where I say we go digging, right? I think the
Right.
power of having so much knowledge between the 4 of us is we can hear the questions that the employee's not asking. So you at the city, if you can hear something they're not asking, where are they going to work at? Are they going to that proportionate system? Are they going to another TMRS city?
Right.
Tell them to call. They have options, right?
Yeah,
And they
that's
don't have to make any decisions immediately.
correct.
Absolutely. They have that 5-year
Yep.
window, right? They have that 5-year window. Even if they're not vested, they have a 5-year window to leave that money in TMRS. And that, I think, is a little known nuance of the program
And
that
if-
not a lot of people get.
And if that member is not comfortable answering those questions, then maybe they don't want them to know where they're going.
we
or
get a
what
lot of
they're
that.
doing.
It's not
Well,
the city's
They can reach
information.
out to us and say, what are my options? What can I do with this money? And reach out to us.
And that's a good point that the city should let the employee know. Contact TMRS. You have any questions? You need any information? Call TMRS so they can assist you in anything you might have. Because, like you said, Ida, if they're not comfortable communicating with the city, some employees don't even want to tell the cities that they're retiring or they're
going.
leaving employment or where they're going. So it is very important that they do communicate with TMRS.
Yeah. And Shannon, you made the comment of even if someone isn't vested, they can leave their money with us for up to 5 years. And at the city, you might think, oh, this person isn't vested because they've only been here 2 years, 3 years. But you might not be aware of previous TMRS service. Maybe they applied for restricted prior service. Maybe they have time with a proportionate system. Maybe they're going to a proportionate system. So you can't look at your experience with that employee in a vacuum.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are the questions. It reminds me of something that happened many, many years ago. And I love this because it's one of those feel-good stories where I go, oh, yes, but it's one of those that you had to have seen it. And it was a lady who was not vested with her city. She had like 9.5 years, but she was at a 10-year vesting city.
Mhm.
And she got the letter. She had left her money in for 5 years. She got the letter from TMRS that said, hey, you need to refund your money because you're not vested and it's been over 5 years. So we've already paid her all the interest we're going to pay her. And she didn't want to take her money out. She wanted to leave it in TMRS, and she sent an email into TMRS. I happened to have received the email, and I remember looking. I just happened to look at her email address, and it came from her work address, which was an ISD. And so I had to go digging. I had to ask her. I said, "Do you work for a school system? When did you go?" Did all the legwork, and come to find out, she had actually went to the school district in year 4 year, 11 months. She had 1 month left to spare. But because we were able to get her statements from TRS and verify everything, we were able to keep her account active, in which she was about to fill out that refund application, but she did some digging. And that made me feel so good, because 9.5 years of having put money away in her retirement account, she didn't want to
Yeah.
give up the TMRS benefit because she missed it by 6 months of not getting invested with that
I
city.
had a
So it's one
yeah.
of those, like, we go digging because we know, and we're always trying to find the any pathway we can for a member to hit that vested or
Mhm.
Or
retirement
retirement
eligible
eligible.
status.
Yes. I
Right?
had a member at Abilene that had the same situation as well. They had TRS time, and somehow or another, we missed the part of the TRS time that he actually refunded, and we were only looking at his proportionate service,
His active
his
time.
active time.
Okay.
So I reached out to our benefits department, asked them to research it, and they actually applied that time. And this was from several years ago that he had submitted this request. So they were able to add that time, which actually helped them to become eligible to retire
That's awesome.
and retire sooner than waiting till the age of 60.
That's awesome. Like,
Yep.
just knowing all these ins and outs lets us help our members.
Yes.
And we want you at the city to learn these ins and outs to help your
Yeah.
employees, right?
Absolutely.
So, talking about the ins and outs of TMRS, one of the other ins and outs is return to work. Now, TMRS is a 20, 25-year in and out. So, an employee can work for 20, 25 years, retire, and go back to work, right? When we talk about retirement, we are not saying, hey, go sit on that rocking chair.
Collecting
And-
that mailbox money.
Right, collect that mail and yelling at the kids running across your lawn, right? Retirement in TMRS means you've met that eligibility criteria to retire your account, not retire from living, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you have a retiree who's come to you to come back to work, best advice, what do they need to know?
Make sure it's not on the date that you retired from. So a different month from retirement, basically.
So if they're coming back from a different city,
A different city.
So you retire from city A, city B wants to hire you. You cannot do it in the same month.
Same
You have to
month.
cross over
Yeah.
into a new month. What about city A to city A?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you've retired from City A and City A wants to bring you back because they haven't been able to fill your position, number one, if they're bringing you back in a position that's going to be eligible to participate in TMRS, if it's been less than 12 months since your retirement date, that monthly retirement benefit is going to be suspended, meaning
Ouch.
you do not receive it during the time that you're back with the city. So be cognizant of the retirement date and the rehire date. But also, if you're going back to the same city, making sure that your separation at retirement was well and truly bona fide, and that there has not been any sort of prearrangement, whether it has been explicit or implied, for their rehire.
I know we probably all have horror stories.
So many.
Yes.
Yes.
I know we all have those horror stories of someone who
Whose
didn't
retirement was
know
canceled.
they retired, and they were like, oh, well, my termination date was the 15th of the month, and that was my retirement date. No, retirement dates when?
It's
End of the
always
month.
the last day of the month.
Always the last day of the month, right?
And on that same note, just to touch on that, if you retire a month or two down the road, you're bored, you're at home, you notice that your city does have a position available and it's part-time, contract, or temporary, you can go back to work in one of those capacities as long as it's either part-time, contract, or temporary. But again, it cannot be prearranged, like Marin mentioned, because as long as you're not having full benefits for TMRS, then you're okay. You can come back and work, and it's not going to suspend your monthly benefit. But the key point is, do not prearrange it. Hey, boss, I'm going to retire. Why don't you hire me back in a month or two? You cannot do that, because then it could impact your retirement benefit.
And let me go ahead. I'm going to tag in on the whole part time. We do want to make sure
True.
to clarify, just because if you designate a position as part time, that still could be a TMRS eligible position.
Correct.
Yes.
What's the hour? What's the magic number?
1,000 hours.
1,000 hours.
Yeah, I've run into some situations recently where a city has said, oh, yeah, this is a non benefits eligible position. It says in our handbook that they don't qualify for any city benefits, but they're in a position, they're working 20, 25, 30 hours a week. They meet that 1,000-hour per year threshold for the requirements of for the role, and it is absolutely possible for someone to not qualify for medical insurance, dental insurance, but still be eligible for participation in TMRS. And if you hire someone in a TMRS eligible position, you have to enroll them. It is mandatory.
And I just heard recently there's some cities out there, maybe one of their best practices is if they're hiring someone at that 14, 15-hour level, right? 15-hour a week level, they're not TMRS eligible. They are having those employees sign a document to say, hey, I know I'm not TMRS eligible. So if for whatever reason, maybe one week they work 20, 25 hours and they go, oh, wait, I meet the threshold. That key word is normally, but when these cities are making sure the employees are aware that they are not eligible or that they are eligible, because if they are eligible, they're going to get enrolled.
Well, and just to kind of piggyback off that, at the city level, making sure that you are regularly reviewing and updating those job descriptions. Just because someone is hired 14, 15 hours a week in a non-TMRS eligible position, it is absolutely possible that over the years, the expectations for that role have changed, right? And now it's expected to exceed 1,000 hours a year. And maybe someone 5 years into their career with the city, it is now TMRS eligible.
I think recently I heard a city say that they have a rule, if a position goes over that 1,000 hours 3 years in a row, they go in and reevaluate to determine, hey, this has now hit what they deem to be normal.
Yeah,
And
it's no
they
longer
will
exceptional
reclassify that position
circumstances.
as TMRS eligible. So absolutely correct. They need to always reevaluate their positions to determine who should be in TMRS or not.
Yep.
And the city reference guide has all that information.
City
It's on our
reference guide
website.
and
Public
on
website.
our website.
Yep.
Okay. So talking about retirement, because we keep talking about this, and certification. So this is a role that the city has to do. They have to certify retirement applications, whether it's the paper form or an email, right? So our new online applications. We also do refund applications. They do refund applications. They also do public safety employee certifications. There are some differences in dates. Ida,
Yes.
tell us those dates.
The dates on the difference, especially retirement and refund. For retirement, it's always their last day of employment. And then for the refund is when you last get paid. So the last pay period that you receive your check.
So if you get paid on September 15th and you've decided you're done, you're going to refund your account, the city is certifying what is your last month?
What is your last pay period?
Pay period. So if you got paid September 15th, they're going to put September as that date, certifying that date. Even though we know and you know we don't get that report until October, you're not putting October.
Right.
Right.
You're putting, hey, you got paid in September. This is your last paycheck. It'll
last
be on the
contribution.
September payroll report. If you put October, that's going to be another correction, or an employee
delay
really
it
mad because
potentially.
they're having to wait even longer. But what about the retirement? It's that day, right?
It's the month that you're retiring.
The month that you're retiring. Even though we know we may not get their last paycheck until the following month, TMRS has protocols in place,
Yeah.
right? We know that this is going to happen.
And Joe, I was
Go
just going
ahead.
to clarify. So, if someone is retiring directly from active employment, it's the month that they're separating, the month that they're retiring. But if someone left city employment years and years ago and now they're retiring this month, you're still certifying when they separated,
When they left
when they
employment.
left. Yep.
Yes, and just something else to touch on that Shannon mentioned earlier, just because you leave employment today, that doesn't mean your retirement date is today. It's always going to be the last day of the month with TMRS. And TMRS just requires the month and the year that you're retiring, not the date. So for the application, we just need the month and the year that you're retiring.
So the other one that we talked about, we said retirement
Mhm.
applications, refund applications. There's also public safety employment verifications that cities have to certify when someone has said, "Yeah, I was a public safety employee." What happens there? Where's the gray area there?
And that's a great question because we are getting a lot of questions, especially from other employees that think they are considered public safety. And again, it is a federal law, and it's fire, police, and EMS that are exempt. And if you want to pick it back on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because we get questions a lot of times from like dispatchers or civilian
Exactly.
employees with the police. Oh, do I qualify for public safety? And like Lorraine said, we are basing it on the IRS's definition of a public safety employee, meaning you have to have specialized training in the area of police protection, firefighting services, or emergency medical services. And if someone isn't quite sure whether or not their job description meets the definition, at the end of the day, it is your employer who's going to be certifying that for us, telling us yay or nay, right?
Correct.
TMRS doesn't necessarily know what your job description was or what your job duties were. It's going to be your employer who will confirm for us whether or not you and your job meet that definition of a public safety employee.
The other thing I'm going to touch on, not to interrupt you, Shannon, that again, public safety, when you were talking about, I was police officer and I got injured, so therefore I'm now doing a different position.
Desk duty.
I'm a desk duty, but I'm still considered a police officer, so I'm okay. But you change jobs. Now you're possibly a dispatcher, or I'm working at the jail. I'm not a police officer anymore. Are you still considered a public safety employee when you retire?
We were on the same wavelength with that because that was exactly what I was going to say. It's about the position you are in when you retire.
Immediately
Correct.
prior to your
Immediately
retirement.
retire. But that was a great segue, and we didn't even plan this. My next question is, what happens when someone becomes disabled? Because you said you had a police officer hurt on the job. Maybe you can't be a police officer. What are the other options?
They can retire with disability.
Or they can
What-
apply to retire.
They can apply to retire with disability, yes.
But let's go ahead and make that distinction, because under a service retirement, you're eligible or you're not, right? It's very
Correct.
black and white.
Yes.
What do you have to do to qualify for a disability retirement?
Disability is you're no longer able to do the job that you were hired for. And basically you're no longer, in this example, police officer, you were a street officer, you're no longer able to be a street officer. So you can apply for disability even though you're not eligible to retire just yet.
Yeah, essentially, if you're physically or,
Or mentally unable to do the job.
incapacitated, unable to perform the
Yeah.
duties, like Lorraine said, of the job that you were hired
Hired
by the
for.
city to do. And if you're not old enough to meet the normal service requirements or don't have enough service credit, that is where the disability retirement option can come into play.
Correct.
And if you're in a situation where one of your employees has gotten hurt, has gotten sick, maybe can't come back to work, what should they do? Always encourage them to contact TMRS. We have specialists in our offices who work directly with the disability retirement application process, and they can talk them through their options, the eligibility, the application, the medical review, and kind of walk them through so that they can decide what's going to make the most sense for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think years ago at a seminar, this kind of hit home with me. We always have these stories. in which a SWAT officer came up to me and he says, "Hey, I have questions. I was hurt." So absolutely, he's not eligible for to
To be on
continue
the
being a
street.
police officer. And he's like, "What are my options?" And I go, "Oh, let's apply for disability retirement." And he was blown away. He goes, "I didn't even know that existed."
Mm.
So cities, it's not a provision you have to adopt.
Oh, no.
Disability retirement is system wide. And so actually, I followed through with this gentleman, and he was able to apply for disability. And then he ended up going back to work as a dispatcher because he could be a dispatcher. Um, he wasn't disabled from all gainful employment, just disabled from doing the job he was hired to do.
Right.
Now, a point with that as well is the disability retirement does not get calculated any differently than
Right.
a
the
service
retirement.
retirement, right? So
Right.
it's
That's correct.
how much money they have, their total reserves, like you said earlier, total reserves, looking at their life expectancy. So
And it's
it's
going to be
just
based off of what they have
At that
that
time.
at that time, right? They don't
Yes.
get additional funds because it's a disability retirement. So
Yeah.
really
Okay.
great points. To
Yes,
bring
but
up.
one thing that I want to point out too on the disability through TMRS, that does not mean that it allows your employee or the employee to apply for Social Security disability. Just because you got approved through TMRS, that does not mean you're going to get approved through Social Security either.
Yep.
The other point I want to ask is what the example you gave, that SWAT officer, he was able to retire under disability. Was he able to come back to work for the same city?
That is a nuance of the disability
Yes.
retirement is that as long as they come back in not in the same position that they were deemed disabled from, they can return back to the same city in less than that year
Yep.
period.
Correct.
So
Without having
great
their
point.
benefits
There are a
suspended.
lot
Right.
of this,
Yeah.
and this is the reason why Maren said call our office.
Yeah.
We have those
Right.
specialists because it does get kind of tricky,
Yeah.
and we
The
have
ins
those
and
ins and
outs.
outs. So if you have an employee in this situation, call, ask. Don't just assume that they are out of luck.
And
Right.
then, kind of separate but tied into someone who might potentially be applying for disability retirement, make sure that they have their beneficiaries updated
Mhm.
and that potentially they explore the possibility of getting a power of attorney.
What should a member do if they're going through a divorce?
Oh wow, you're throwing the questions out at us now.
I'm
Okay.
just thinking out loud.
No, I
The
love
question
it.
that we get all
Um,
the time. What
yeah,
do
it
we do?
is.
What do we need to do?
And I think Lorraine's asking me this question because I actually worked in this department for
Mm.
many years. Divorce, the TMRS benefit is a community property asset for that member. So if they are going through a divorce, it may be divided. It doesn't mean it has to be divided, but if it is divided, if that benefit is divided, we do need a quadro. Those of you who've ever heard that word, you know exactly what I'm saying. Qualified domestic relations order. Call our office, speak to one of our Delta team members. They will walk the member. And as Ida said earlier, go to our resources.
Mhm.
Under the Form Members tab, there's a tab that said Divorce and Retirement
Yep.
for an active member. Under the Retiree tab,
Divorce after
Divorce
retirement.
after
after
retirement. But be aware that TMRS benefit is a community property asset and
Yes.
can be, doesn't have to be, but can be divided.
Yeah, which is
Yes.
a really good point because that's one that I hear a lot. Someone will say, "Oh, yeah, I'm maybe going through a divorce. How much is he or she going to get?" And I say, "Well, it depends on what you guys agree to, right?
Exactly.
It is an asset that is going to be divided, just like your house and your cars and your bank accounts, and y'all decide who gets what. And then once your divorce has been finalized and you've gotten that qualified domestic relations order or quadro, you send that into us so that we know what y'all have agreed to and how that asset should be split."
Right,
Correct.
that quadro orders TMRS to pay someone other than the member.
Yep.
Correct.
So we're just doing what we are ordered
That
to do,
by
right?
the courts.
The-
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. Well, that was a surprise question I didn't know about. So good thing we know we hear these questions all the time. What's the biggest misconception from members about retirement? Like when a member comes up to you and they ask us something, what do you think they just can't wrap their brain around?
Lifetime payment.
Yeah.
The
Lifetime payment, right?
Lifetime
Lifetime. One of mine is, oh, I can go back to work. So
Mhm.
we've talked about return to work. That's a big misconception.
One of them is my beneficiary can draw a lifetime benefit too.
And hand in hand with that one, oh, my beneficiary can get the city match.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yes.
that is a good
Yes.
one. I had a conversation recently with gentlemen who we're talking 30 and 40 years experience
Mm.
in the system, well versed in TMRS, and sat down and had a conversation with them about their beneficiary designations because each and every one of us, when we pull up a member's account, we're looking, we're
Yeah.
running the estimate, we're talking, we're going to their beneficiary, and we're like, oh, it's either not updated or it's updated. And do you understand how this plays out? And that, but that goes with being vested, right? When you're
Yeah.
vested, you also earn the right for your beneficiary to receive a benefit in the event of your passing. So, yeah,
Yes.
those are
That
great
that's
misconceptions.
a big one. Just helping people understand the purpose of the match from your city is to fund a monthly benefit for someone. Whether
Correct.
that someone is you, right, the retiree who's collecting that monthly payment, or whether you've passed and it's your beneficiary who's collecting that monthly payment, it is being funded in part by all of the contributions you made throughout your career, all of the matching dollars from your city, and then also the TMRS investments
And the key word is as long as that monthly check is being paid out,
to someone.
that includes the city's portion.
Right?
That's
That's a
the
good
key
rule of
word.
Yeah.
thumb. That's a great
Because
rule of thumb.
that a lot of people's like, well, like you said earlier, are they getting the city's matching? And that's my key point. As long as that monthly check is getting paid out, the city's portion is included.
It includes all the money.
Yes.
Nothing gets reduced just because a payment is going to a beneficiary.
Correct.
Okay, so let's not talk about beneficiaries. It's kind of depressing sometimes, right? Let's talk about something cool. Do you have any cities who do things cool or engaging in regards to retirement? Do you have anything?
Yes, I have some cities that do a retirement week. They have certain times that we come out and do presentations and then meet with them one-on-one. Other things that they do is open enrollment with the other retirements, like for 57 and Social Security. So those are some events that they do and call it a retirement day or retirement week or days. So
Yeah. And I have a city that once going back to the vesting and the reports, apparently when we asked them to run that report and they realized how many employees they have that have not updated their beneficiary information, even though they're eligible to retire, they're going to create that they're going to do every month, they're going to bring in the group of employees to make sure that they get their information up to date, even either by using the beneficiary form or doing the My TMRS account. But their key point is to get them to create a My TMRS. So if and when they do decide to retire, they can apply online for their retirement applications.
I do have one city that I love, City of Louisville. I'm going to call them out. They do a retirement day, and it's such a cool day. They make their employees register. They feed them breakfast. They feed them lunch. They bring myself in. I'm usually the first presenter. There are 457 providers. They have 2 of them. Their health insurance. They bring Social Security in. And it's an entire day of getting retirement ready. They create a binder. Like they put together a binder for each and every employee so that when they walk out, they have all the information not on their phone. It's hard paper, right?
That's awesome.
It's really cool. I've been going there for years now, and I love it. Every year I get called like, when's your available date? Because we're going to base this date on your availability, right? So I shout out to Louisville for doing that for their employees. Okay, here's my surprise question. And I think we already know the answer.
Okay.
What should a city not do?
Ooh.
You already said it earlier, like, oh, this is you're really
No
passionate
refund.
about that.
Don't refund.
Don't give them that refund.
don't give them that
application.
refund.
Don't tell the employees to take a partial lump sum so they can get to the city's portion quicker. Because everybody is different. Everybody's life is different. So Marin might need it, I might not need it. Or, it varies with everyone.
Yeah, so like no blanket
No
statements.
blanket
Oh,
statements.
everyone should do that or no one should do this. Everyone's situation, like Shannon said earlier, the 4 of us all have completely different families and financial situations, and what's right for me isn't necessarily right for Ida. So yeah, no blanket statements.
Correct.
And then mine is going to be a little different. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, what should cities not do? You guys know we love coming out and meeting with you guys and meeting with your employees and attending your benefit fairs and your open enrollment fairs and your financial wellness events. Please, please, please do not wait until the last minute. If you have an event that you're prepping for or you've got something that you want TMRS to attend, please give us as much lead time as possible. As you can see, there's 4 of us on the education team. We've divvied up the state of Texas amongst, again, the 4 of us. And as you might know, there's
Hey,
currently,
Maren, how many are there?
there's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've
How
got
many cities do we have?
944. And y'all are just coming out of open enrollment. As I'm sure you can imagine, there are some days, especially in that busy season, which is, I don't know what, July through November, there are days where there are more events happening than there are people to participate in them. And I know there were some days this summer where we were handling multiple events. I'm going to be in this city in the morning, and then I'm going to that city in the afternoon. And what other internal resources? Who else can we steal from other departments to help manage these city-sponsored events? So again, if you are interested in scheduling an event, if you would like us to come out in person, if you want us to do a webinar, just let us know. Give us as much lead time as possible. The more time we have, the more possible it's going to be that we can accommodate that request for you. Because we hate to say no.
Exactly.
It breaks my heart every
It breaks
time.
my heart,
Yeah.
but it's
Every
it is
time
a-
I have to tell a city, no, I'm so sorry. That date has been booked for like 8 months now.
Exactly.
It's kind of
And
a
that's a
first
good
come,
point.
first serve basis.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
that's a good way to look
It
at
is
it.
a first come,
heart.
first serve because all of us, we don't want to say no, but unfortunately sometimes we have to
Yeah.
because if, I'm in the valley, there's no way I can get to the city of Anthony or somewhere else within,
8 hours.
8 hours or within a day. But that's a very good point. Again, please give us notice. Even if you have tentative dates, let us know ahead of time. That sometimes has helped us
Yeah.
as
That's
well.
great.
And we try to reach out and remind them, like, hey, we're here.
Yes.
Don't forget to
Yeah.
reach
Notify
out
us.
to us.
Hey, we're
And
starting to block out calendars for 2026. Are you
Oh,
guys having?
I did get
yeah.
my first event for 2026 already.
Oh,
I did
okay.
I
too.
got my first event.
I have
This is
too.
how far. But let's go. I think I have one last question,
Okay.
and then we're going to wrap it up. And this is personal. Have you guys tell us an experience that you've had with a member that has truly resonated, that impact of TMRS, it just really just stuck with you and you won't forget it. It's like an experience with a member that really truly showed the impact of TMRS.
no,
Yeah, no,
I'll go.
you start.
No
go.
crying aloud.
I
by the
know.
way. No crying aloud.
So I had a member and also a friend that passed away, and his wife reached out to me. And luckily, he had just completed 63 months of service.
oh, so
He
he's vested.
became
vested.
vested. She had no idea what options she was going to be able to do or that she was going to receive a lifetime payment. So this is one that I share a lot with my cities, giving our members the reason why they have to designate those beneficiaries, because you just never know what options they're going to have. And this is something that she's going to be able to provide, receive a lifetime payment, provide food at the table, cover utilities. It may not be a huge monthly payment, but it's something that she's going to have for her life. After her kids grow up, she's going to have this payment to provide for her. So that's just touching that you
So when
just
that
never
happened, it
know
kinda,
when
oh,
the
yeah.
vesting.
Tugs at your heart, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, I have one. I had an older gentleman that worked in the valley, and his situation was that he knew he paid money into TMRS, but didn't really realize what it was for. He also participated in the 457, and every year his boss would encourage him to increase that benefit by either $5 or $10. So the gentleman was getting ready to retire, and we were going over his options. I was explaining to him what the benefits were, and then also explained to him that he had the option to take a partial lump sum, because we were speaking in Spanish, and he was just letting me know that he just needed some cash to be able to pay off his house. And so the lady that worked for the 457 was sitting next to me, and she was bringing up his account or checking to see if he had an account as well. Well, to the norm is that he did have an account with the 457. So once I explained to him what the retirement options were and that he could also take a partial lump sum, he was shocked to know that his wife could actually draw a benefit if something happened to him. And then I told him about the partial lump sum. And then at that time, the lady from the 457 mentioned that he also had an account with her. And so she goes, if you need to take the money, she goes, you can take it from here and it doesn't reduce your monthly payment. So he actually, till this day, and I still get chills about it because he got teary-eyed.
Oh.
And he goes, I knew that I was paying, he goes, but I never realized the benefit of it, especially that if something happens to me, my wife can continue to get a benefit for the rest of her life. And she goes, and now you're telling me that I have this other account that I've been paying into that I had no clue what it was about. I can just take the money from there to finish paying off my house. So that was, something that really hit me until this day. I get chills and teary-eyed about it because it was a life-changing event for him to realize what was available to him.
What TMRS had
What
to offer.
TMRS was
Yeah.
offering him, correct.
Yeah, I'll tell mine. 17 years on the road, and I think one of the best parts of my job is seeing people in person. I think we can all agree
Yes.
is meeting people in person, talking to them face to face, and seeing what kind of an impact TMRS makes. A few years ago, I was at a conference, and I was manning our booth, and a lady walked by, and she was not in TMRS. She was a mayor. And she walked in and she looked at our actuary. She says, I have a question. I need help. And she was a little kind of aggressive, to put it, because she's like, I have never heard from TMRS. And she said, my husband passed away and he was a TMRS member. And I have never gotten anything from TMRS. And our actuary looked at me. She goes, that's her. Go talk to her. And she pointed to me and I was like, oh, okay. Step into the corner of our booth. And I pulled up the account. And her husband had passed away a year earlier as Ida's friend vested, right? And I go, oh, okay, let me talk. And I kind of walked her through the process, what was going to happen. And then she said, that time was such a tragic time for me. It was such a sudden loss. She said, I guarantee you guys sent the letter. And we did. We had already sent the letter. And she says, but I was in such a mental space right then after having lost my husband. She goes, I probably didn't know what to do with it. So I told her what our options were going to be. At the same time, I'm emailing our office. Within a minute, they had sent me an email back saying, got it, sending her a new packet of information. I told her what she needed. And as she was walking away, she's giving me a hug and everything's nice. And I said, oh, I forgot to tell you. We're going to make up all of those missed payments that you should have started receiving a year ago. And she looked at me, she goes, what? I said, you don't lose out on the payments just because you forgot, you didn't know to apply for them. And at that moment, she lost it. She started crying in the booth. I started crying in the booth. And she looked at me and she says, my husband always said he would take care of me. And he just did. And I lost it. I cried. And I was like, no one cries alone. I know I said no crying, but I could go on story after story of the members that we have met that have had profound impact on why we love to do what we do, right?
Yes.
So we're going to wrap it up. Thank you all for joining us today in this Sharing Insights session. I do want to leave you with a few takeaways. First and foremost, we are here for you, not just us, our entire team at TMRS, for the administration department, the benefits administration, to our member service center. We are here for you. Call us, reach out to us, contact us if you have any question. Second, run those reports, right?
Yes.
Run those reports, run those beneficiary reports, those help your employees get registered on My TMRS, and be there for them, help them. Third, not only are your employees a member of one of the strongest retirement systems in the country, You are too. And you help us do what we do. Without you at the cities, we could not do what we do. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, that wraps it up for us. We are going to go on to our next session. Please join us in our next session. It is a Q&A. And earlier in the session, we talked about the webinars. And one of the best responses we get, survey results that we get from those webinars, is that we stay on and answer their questions live.
Yep.
So join us for our live Q&A session coming up next.
Get your questions ready.
Yes.
Yes.